Okay guys, I'm just going to do a quick recap. I just got done spending about an hour and a half with one of the Peterbilt engineers going through some of the technical stuff on this on these EV trucks. And so I'm going to talk about this 520 here. It's got a Republic Waste 27-yard body on it. I'm going to just start with the axles and just kind of work my way forward. And I'll probably be putting some slides, some pictures and everything in here as we go. So these are Meritor E axles. As you can see here, there is no driveline on this truck. And one of the things to remember on a 520 and a 579, there are no drivelines. There are only two different configurations on the length of the chassis. The reason why is because the power cords that are supplied and the cooling cords and everything that supply these axles have to be a very specific length, a cut length. So also to note is we cannot do a single axle currently. It does require dual tandem axles. So these are supplied by Meritor. Each axle has a 2-speed motor, a single 2-speed motor in it. And because an electric motor spins so rapidly, they also have to do a planetary drive. So there's a planetary inside the hub. Right there. Okay. Now, in the refuse application, right now we only have this option. It's the Hallmax suspension option. I've been talking to those guys. Now on a 579, we'll be able to do the low air leaf suspension, the flex air suspension, and the air track. Okay. So now on this configuration, since this is an automated side loader, the battery pack is not on here. Each different body manufacturer has different options on what they use. So I'll give, for example, McNeilus has their own what they call the EPTO system. So that's all mounted up in here. And they basically just plug into the power systems of the peak, and everything is all self-contained within that unit there. Like Heil, for example, they use a little bit of a different system where we can provide the EPTO system and then they run their standard hydraulics. So there's definitely some efficiencies. Each body manufacturer is improving their processes as they go along. This truck is a 650 volt. And since this battery pack is not able to be located here, the third battery pack is located up here. So these are all in sequence. The E-axles, I forgot to mention, has 3-stage regenerative braking. So when you are operating this truck, you can do 1, 2, or 3 stage. Stage 1 being the lightest, just like what would be with a Jake brake, and then stage 3 being the toughest. My understanding, this truck is going to be delivered out to Republic, but they're already running some automated side loader McNeilis's, and they're also running some rear loaders. They're having great success with both. My understanding with this setup is they're getting about 450 cycles a day out of the arm. One of the things to be mindful of is if an EV is going to be successful for you is A, are you staying within a 100-mile radius? Is it going to the same place every night? How far away is your landfill? And things of that nature. So one of the things to keep in mind is that in the morning, these things need to warm up just like a a diesel fired engine does. So basically you turn on the key and the batteries need to warm up to 70 degrees before you can start your day. So believe it or not, you actually have to warm these things up. There's so much more data. Maybe at the end of this video I'm going to put together a PowerPoint and add it to the video that talks about the infrastructure, what has to happen. Kind of a step-by-step process on, is this something that could be useful for you? One of the questions that I had was, could they lower the doghouse or create some more space inside the cab? And the answer is no. This system underneath here is actually a Meritor system, and it's direct wired to the battery kit, and it powers your air systems, your AC systems, your heater, air conditioner, coolant fans. Everything is all done through this system under here, and it does occupy as much space as the actual engine would have had the diesel fired unit been in here. And so as you can see, it does still operate off of a standard radiator. Again, there's so much stuff to go over. I'm probably not hitting 1/10 of what it is. So my understanding is this truck here is going to actually have about an additional 7,000 pounds of weight on the chassis itself. What I'm told is there's about a 2,000 pound exemption as far as weight, so that does help alleviate a little bit of the weight threshold, but the driver obviously is going to have to be a little mindful of how much it's carrying on board. I am told that this EPTO system up here is roughly about 800 to 1,100 pounds extra. So when all is said and done, you're talking about 8,000 pounds additional weight on a refuse body. So one of the things that the engineers here at Peterbilt were telling me is they use a different compound. So when you look at this compared to a different chassis manufacturer, they might say that they're going to have more distance on their actual on a charge. The chemical composition of these batteries that Peterbilt uses, because they make a claim for a little bit less mileage, but the composition of these batteries are going to give you twice the amount of recharge times. So I'm told that the recharge times is going to be roughly about 4,000 recharges, whereas the chemical composition of some of our competitors are going to be about 2,000. So that's just some data that I'm getting back on that. So you can calculate, your routes, how many times you're going to charge per year. They also recommend that you keep these trucks inside if you're in a cold weather climate. It just helps them warm up better, helps the batteries last longer. This is a master kill switch here. I also asked about cleaning, if there's any precautions you need to take while you're cleaning the truck. And you should be able to do just your standard pressure washing. Of course, keeping in mind you don't want to open up the charging port and pressure wash directly in the charging port, common sense stuff. So that's just a little bit of the technical stuff on an EV. I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit extra behind this video, I think, to try to help people understand the process and vetting whether or not this is a viable solution for them. And just to kind of cap off on pricing, basically what you have to do if you're thinking about making an EV purchase is take the cost of a comparable diesel fired unit and multiply it times 3. So this one with the proper charging station is going to have about a 3-hour charge time. And what I'm told is that one charge on a Class 8 EV of this size is the equivalent of 11 household usages per day. So this one truck is about comparable to 11 household usages. And that's just data. I'm not saying that's good or bad. It's just some stuff that I'm hearing. And so stay tuned for more information. If you have any questions, make sure to reach out to me. There's a lot of grants that are coming available for the state of Colorado and existing grants that are available for some other states. And I am available to ship these nationwide. And there is some availability to start the process. Just as a quick example, if you do start the process on ordering a truck, then we do have specialists that will come out and help you figure out the infrastructure on putting all the charging systems together. And they will actually do the construction process and everything for us. So this slide shows our current lineup, starting with the one in the middle, which is the 220 EV. That's our medium duty model. Keeping in mind that we may have some conventional models coming down the road that have further EPTO capabilities. On the right, of course, is our 520, which we spent the majority of this video on. So we have a good understanding of what those look like, top to bottom. And then, with similar capabilities from the chassis down, you're going to have the Model 579 tractor, and it's going to be the tractor trailer capable in 2 different body lengths that you can get. And that is basically what we are looking at as far as our tractor through medium duty options. So let's talk about the applications for EV adoption, whether or not it would be the right fit for you. You want to make sure that the truck drives less than 200 miles each day. Cube out LTL and diminishing loads. Start-stop duty cycles, much like trash trucks. And then you have to make sure that the vehicle is going to return home every night, or it's going to be able to safely make it to the next station for its charging. So once we determine which model of truck that you would like to put into your application, we have to start putting together a team of people who are going to help us understand what all the infrastructure, grant funding, charging stations, and everything else is going to be required before we can land at our final price on the truck. So once we get to the funding stage, then we have to get people involved from Peterbilt and the county officials and city officials to help understand what it's going to take to put your infrastructure in, put your grant funding together, determine if you have old vehicles that you're going to discard, and then at that point in time, then we can start collecting our money from those resources to put back into the cost of your vehicle. So when people ask me what the cost of the vehicle is, it's very hard to explain up front. There are so many factors that come into play, and that's why we have to utilize the resources that are properly given to us by Peterbilt and put together for us. So the last slide that I'm going to have for you in this presentation is just a quick synopsis of how the chargers look and how they work. As you can see, going from left to right, you can determine exactly how much time you would like for your vehicle to charge, if you want them to slow charge overnight or if you need to do fast charging. And then as you move to the right, you'll have to determine, okay, down the road or in the immediate future, how many vehicles am I going to need to charge and how quickly will I need them to charge? So I hope this gives you a brief understanding of what it will take to put together a package on putting an EV deal together and hopefully sorting out some of the politics and infrastructure that will have to be put in play. Thanks for watching, and I appreciate you guys.